Hey everybody, welcome to an episode of A to Z. Another episode, you guys. I'm great at intros. Like this. Hi, I'm Zero Rimson, and I'll be your resident Yang for this episode. And gravity is messing it up. But that's okay. We're going to pull it together. It's going to be great from this point moving forward. Again, there's Aaron Chase. You might know him. He's above me right now, but in the edit, he's going to be down there. So, Aaron's your resident Yang. I'm the resident Yang. You're the resident Yin. This is all sorts of combobulated. It's fine. We don't have to run the tightest ship. It's all about freeform. Essentially, the idea is I'm the naive, positive, rainbow-colored glasses one, and he's the realistic, looking at the world as it is. Not. I keep wanting to say narcissistic, nepotist, whatever the negative way of looking at the thing is. That's that. I'm like optimism, pessimism. That's what it is. When you say it together, it rolls off the tongue. This is the longest intro I've done so far. So thank you for sticking with me through that. Today we're just talking about whatever we're talking about. We'll see. Aaron's gotten a little tipsy. He said that he was going to start before we got on here. Do you have it? Oh, fancy. Fancy in the tiny glass. He's on his nice drink. What you got there? Explain it for the viewers. What is this cocktail?
I'm doing dirty martinis today.
Oh, disgusting. What's
You know, like
what's the difference between a dirty martini and a regular martini?
dirty martini has olive juice in it, and other types of martinis don't, from what I understand of it.
Okay. I learn a lot about these things because I don't drink, you guys. So
That's right. I forget about that.
well, I know I'm not cool in any way. But yeah, that's interesting. How is it? Do you like it?
It's delicious. This is a this one. This one has sweet vermouth, so it's like it has a lot of it's like sugary, but normally I do dry. What's up?
Sweet vermouth.
hmm
Pinky's up.
Normally I do dry, but this was a change up.
Okay.
I'm I'm gonna start positive.
Okay. Hey, listen, you know me. I love starting on my terms.
Yeah, it'll get negative. Don't you worry. Um,
Yeah,
I
and for context, people, Aaron texted, chatted me on WhatsApp this morning. He was not in a good mood. He did not start off the day well because
uh,
I guess all the stuff. If you haven't heard, there was another one, you guys. That's right. Pull the banner. Let the streams come down. Bad things happening to black people and advocates of black people all over the world. If you haven't heard about the Blake thing, all the other several things that are going down, the
we'll, we'll
riots.
we'll get
Yeah,
into it,
yeah. But
but
that was
before we get
start.
into it,
But he said he's starting positive. So
starting positive. I have a place to live right now. That's not a fucking garage.
where were you last episode?
I was staying on a friend's couch, arguably my manager at this point.
Oh,
Uh, yeah, it's a strange path I've found myself on. I was staying on her couch, and now I'm at another friend's place where I have my own space, my own room. I don't have money to pay rent, but I have enough money to pay for all the groceries and shit. So that's how I'm paying my rent. My rent is through paying for groceries, paper towels, toilet paper, tampons, whatever the fuck.
yeah.
Uh,
Sounds working. Sounds like
yeah.
whatever works for you.
So I have my own little space, which feels really nice. I mean,
Yeah.
it's yeah.
So someday my phone is not gonna do that, where it backs me out like automatically. As you can see, my hands are over here, but it decided to take me to the home screen. Neither here nor there. It is nice. That's good. That is very good to hear to finally start getting your own space. I mean, again, as far as I know for you, it's like the less you can have other people, the better. But at least taking that step away from the family that like is the drain on you
You
is
know, there's two things. There's two things with that. The first thing is I think I've hit my threshold of not wanting to be around people.
oh, okay.
Like I finally hit a place where I'm like, all right, I know who I am for the most part. Like I'm done with this chapter. I'm ready to be around people again. But unfortunately, it's not that easy. And then as far as my family goes, I can feel my grandmother missing me.
Oh,
So yeah, She doesn't express it in the healthiest ways, but
but I know she means it by love.
yeah. So I've been bringing, like, I can bring dog food over here for Aaliyah, but I bring Aaliyah over there so that my grandma can feed her because it gives her something to do. I've been checking in on her just through phone calls. So I think, what is it? Distance makes the heart grow fonder.
That is true.
I can appreciate my family when they're not shoved down my throat.
Yeah.
So I'm in a place where I'm trying to, and I was trying to do this before, but just trying to appreciate the time I have with my grandmother specifically. And
How old is your grandma?
she doesn't tell me.
Oh, okay. Hey, that's very old school. Like, remember a time when women were very caring about how old they were and keeping that a secret? I don't know how much our generation is still on that because we're all still relatively 20 and 30. But I feel like once they get there, they will not care at all. It's just like, no, I'm 50. That's what's up. I got a new tattoo. Like, our generation. But it is very interesting. Good for you.
Thank you. I think what's frustrating me, like why I messaged you, was because I am actively trying to stay positive. I'm trying. And I think what's especially hard for me is like, it is what I'm doing on the street is fucking dangerous.
Oh yeah.
And
okay, let me preface a little bit here. What Aaron does on the street as Aaron is dangerous. Like it's if you were anybody else, like because he's the easiest one to go to. We both understand what I mean when I say this, and anybody who knows him or looks him up at all will understand what I mean when I say this. It's all love in my heart. But like if Nick Laney went out and did what you did, it's not dangerous for Nick Laney. It's like, oh, that adorable weirdo is here. But like for you and the topics that you decide to tackle, which are very real to you, and like it's good. Like again, somebody like Dave, speak recklessly, that whole dance. But like it's like you have to speak your truth. You have to say what you say. You have to do the jokes, the stories, whatever you need to say. It is kind of another outlet for you. It is another positive in a world of negative. Because again, like I mean, you've been sitting on thoughts that you've had all day, and that's not healthy either. And so, like, it's a good thing to get it out. But the other side of that coin is that everybody hears it, and there are people who clearly don't agree with you, and especially as emotionally charged as all of those topics are, you're definitely gonna hear it. But like it is what it is. Again, it's like that's a price you pay as a creative, especially if you decide to tackle those issues. Because that's the thing, and I've brought this up before. I feel like everybody knows the line to toe wherever they are. Like that's kind of a part of being specifically a comedian, is knowing the room and like what is and isn't cool with that room. You know when you're out there on the streets that there are some topics that are gonna get a harder response, whether it be positive or negative. But you decide to go there because you feel confident in your ability to pull it back, or maybe you just need to. Well, I can't speak for you. Maybe
like, I can speak for myself if you'd like.
Yeah, I'm doing the thing where I'm like, I pretty much got it, but like, why am I doing that when you're right here?
It's a feeling of moral and ethical obligation at this point. So like when I'm out there, I know I make it sound like I'm just getting screamed at but like there's people who genuinely need to hear me talk about this. It's weird, man. When I'm out there on, at least if I do it consistently enough, at least on a weekly basis, I get people in tears. And I get people coming up to me and being thank you, like saying thank you so much. I needed this. You saying all of this was like it helped me. I had a guy. I've had people genuinely weep in front of me over this stuff, and it's this weird pocket of like it as a morally. I feel like this has, like, these people need a catharsis, and hearing somebody willing to not even willing, crazy enough like me to go out there on the street and scream and get emotional about it, and then I add humor. Like, I've gotten better at the comedy aspect of it. Like, my last set was fucking amazing. It was an hour and a half of raw riffing, punches throughout the whole thing, ups and downs. It was perfect, man. It was like a real show. And there was people who just clearly need this. And unfortunately, I just happen to have the personality and the life experience that puts me in a position where I should say something. And it's sucks because I don't want to be this person. I'm writing material again about it. Like, it's funny, people don't get that, like, I don't want to be me. This isn't fun. This isn't an enjoyable experience in many ways.
There's a saying that I stole from the guy that I like the most, and I'm sure he took it from somebody else, but I don't know where he got his original, so I always quote him. But, like, in a song that he wrote or a rap, he mentioned, like, what's a leader if it isn't reluctant? And, like, for some reason that has always stuck out to me. Like, there's a truth to the reluctancy of, like, I don't want to be the person who's, like, spearheading the, like, I gotta, like, the system, like, you have your own dreams, you have your own hopes, all the stuff separate from that. Like, you don't want, but, like, again, like you said, somebody has to at a certain point, and when nobody else, and, like, you do have things to say, and you have the mic anyway, and you have the personality, like, people are gonna latch on to that, and, like, good, for better or worse, like, you know, and so it's what it is, but you know. But
it's truly terrifying. Like, waking up this morning and seeing a video of a guy get shot from a car is, like, terrifying, because I'm out there and there's people driving by and they look furious. They look so mad. And I've come to this weird, sometimes sometimes I am heightened, I'm angry, but I've dialed it back and I found a lot of control in myself, especially when I perform now, where I've like, it's balanced. It's very balanced. I keep repeating to people, like, look, I'm manipulative. I'm just like Donald Trump. I tell people this on the street. I'm just like Donald Trump. I'm just in a different life experience. That's all it is. I'm egomaniacal. I'm a charismatic speaker. I'm entertaining. I'm easy to, like, pay attention to. Like, I grab people's attention. I just happen to have a different perspective, and I come from it from a different angle than he would ever come from it. Right. And I acknowledge it. And even when I acknowledge that, even when I'm trying to be as balanced as possible, literally my existence as a black person infuriates these people. It's crazy.
Well, there's also the side of it that's like, and this is getting very airy-fairy and very artsy, but, like, it's kind of like art. It's kind of like you're only so much in control as you, like, I made that, right? But as soon as you put it out in the ether, it's for everybody else to control and decipher and do whatever they will with it. So is, in a very meta way, your existence. Like, in a very meta way, that's the thing. Is, like, you can say all you want that, like, I'm not this, or say it very plainly for everybody. It doesn't matter what you say at a certain point. Like, it's a thing that people don't want to talk about, I think, that, like, there's this subtle thing going on that, again, I think Donald has clicked into, and, like, other certain people understand on a certain wavelength. This is getting very airy-fairy, but, like, the idea that, like, people are looking to be led. Like, they don't want to think for themselves. They don't want to have to make the tough decisions. They want somebody else to do it so they can relax. They want to go, you're our guy, and then we'll just follow whatever you are. Whether that be for good or worse, it's just people don't want, it's the same way they don't want to eat vegetables or they don't want to exercise. It's like, in some ways, it's like the human condition to conserve energy. In other ways, it's laziness. Go ahead.
My thing is, I don't mind them feeling that way. I don't mind being, well, I do mind being called a monkey and a nigger or whatever. I'm not a fan of that part, but I support freedom of speech. As fucking irritating and disgusting as those people are, yell whatever you want at me. That's fine. My issue was when bullets start flying. And it's like, you're trying to kill people
All right.
for this. And that's the scary part. So I'm trying to find that balance or whatever. And it even talking about it, like I've come to a very spiritual place now in all of this.
Yeah.
Even putting it in the ether freaks me the fuck out. And
That's interesting. Your version of the ether is the opposite of my version of the ether.
What do
For
you
some
mean?
reason, I'm the type of person that when something is, I don't speak things into the universe because I feel like you know that thing where like I'm gonna go somewhere and have like I had an experience that was fun, right? Like say you went to a party or a club or a hangout or whatever, right? And
Yeah.
then as soon as you like, oh, that was fun, it happened genuinely in the moment. But the moment you try to like later recreate that and you go like, oh, I'm gonna go to that thing and it's gonna be fun like last time. It's never as fun. This
Yeah.
is just one example. It's like whenever you like, this is what's gonna happen. Religious or not, I personally am, and I go God. But a lot of people who aren't will say like the universe. Something about God and the thing and how the world works is like the moment you think you know what's gonna happen or like you have an idea is the moment the world goes, ha ha ha, you're funny, and they just like don't. It's like slightly off, or sometimes it's way off. So for
Yeah.
me, speaking something like that into the ether guarantees it won't happen like that. Like I won't even say it won't happen
Yeah.
necessarily, but I'm saying like whatever you're picturing in your head is not how it would go down. To me, that's just my thing. In the same way that like speaking it into the universe is scary because you might be bringing it on yourself. There is a certain point where like people in trying to avoid a certain thing weirdly cause that thing. Like if
Yeah.
you're terrified of getting into a car crash, the odds that you'll get into a car crash are really high.
I know what you're saying, and God damn it, I just want, give me all the positivity, Zero, because I'm for real. Like, it's hard to describe to people. The feeling, it's just, it's scary. Like, and I know you don't experience it. I know your life is not.
Because there's several things. One, right now I'm not in the spotlight. First thing. The second thing, even if I was in the spotlight, I'd be getting it from another end because like your demeanor is very like counter to their thing. My demeanor is very counter to the other side. So the people who like look at you and go like, yes, exactly, yes, yes. They would see me on stage or whatever, and I would say my thoughts. Yeah, and they'd be like, "This dude is the most Uncle Tom I've ever seen in my life." Like,
Dude, before you keep going, because I know you're gonna keep going, the irony is that because we are both so on the opposite spectrum, we have an understanding. I know, I know that you're not a coon, and you know that I'm not a nigger. Like we both have this understanding. And I wish more people could, I don't know, I wish more people watched A to Z and saw whatever this is.
Well, here's the other problem is like, this is gonna be really, but you'll understand what I mean when I say this, and anybody who gets what I'm saying when I say this, I am still a black man. So even as much as I'm making devil advocates, at the end of the day, they're going to be like, well, if we had a white guy who was a conservative come on, obviously I'd be like, okay, so like that is kind of like, you know, but like it's that dichotomy where it's like, it's easy for us because there is a mutual understanding of experience, whether my experience hasn't been as intense or even at all comparatively to yours. But like in that same rail, there still is like, we are the target demographic, right?
Yeah.
So like we do have that, whereas somebody who's not the target demographic, it's even harder for them to relate. You know, I like even this morning trying to get me to see what you see is like kind of there's a disconnect there.
Yeah.
Well, it's an even further disconnect when we get even further outside of like, oh, I'm removed because I haven't have your experience. He's removed because he doesn't have your color. And then there's a girl who's removed because she doesn't have either. and it's like even more removed. But I agree. I wish there was a way, and I know like that's the thing. I don't know if you agree with this. I feel like you probably don't, but like you could tell me is I really believe that there's a way to get those two in the room, like the opposite ends of the spectrum. Put them in a room, but like they just talk. Like I just feel like at a base somewhere inside of you, it's like you you love the people in your life.
Yeah.
They love the people in their life. Right there is common ground. You care about the people that you love.
I
If we
think,
like more again, it's that super cliche, and this is why I'm the yang. It's like if we could just focus on the stuff we have in common instead of tearing each other down for the things we don't agree with, and like even just the little bit of like, do you understand? And it's like I know, and that's what it's like for me. I feel like there's so much attack energy, but it's like fear attack. Like they're afraid of us because historically they're like been told that we're like bad and doing bad things, and it's just in our nature to do bad things. And also that like even if you don't believe that side of it, there's got to be a little part of you that's like, we kind of had them down for 400 years. You think they're not thinking of something to get us back for that? Like, there's just like a tiny little part of you that's like, I would get it if they were trying to like that whole thing that's super crazy that some of them believe that's like we're trying to eliminate the white race, like we're
yeah,
trying to slowly evacuate the, like not even evacuate, like by having sex with their women and killing them secret somewhere. I don't know the last black person that killed a white person. I'm sure it happens, but like I couldn't tell you. But that we're doing that on some level. There is a part of me that's like, I see why your crazy brain went there. Like I see where like because it's that thing I think I've talked about before where people can only think about things as themselves. It's like if I was somebody who was oppressed for that long and my family had been treated the way, I would think of vengeance plans and I would try to get back at those people. So of course they must be doing the same thing. And it's like their fear is causing them to get guns, and then we see them get guns and do things, and we're like, oh, we should probably get guns because they're gonna do things. And it's like, wait, they got guns, we should get bigger guns and maybe shoot a couple. And it's like, we got ours for protection. Could you not? And so it's a lot of this.
I think that we will eventually get to a place of peace, but unfortunately, it is going to require a disturbing amount of bloodshed. And I don't want to be any of the blood that is shed. That's how I feel. It's like,
you know what's interesting? Oh,
what's
sorry.
up?
I was just gonna say tiny thing. You know what's interesting? I also believe that death will be a part of it, but I don't think it'll be bloodshed. I think it'll be a natural fading out of like those ideas are from the past, and the rest of us as a mass, like the amount of people who are like, that's not what we like, has been growing, and then they're having kids, and then that grows. Whereas the amount of people doing the like conservative thing and like aiding and all that stuff, there's still pockets, and they still go pretty hard in it, and they try to keep it. But like the older people are dying, and it's become harder and harder to be like an old person trying to get a young person to believe that black people are evil. Like it's just rougher because they have the internet. Like the amount of access that you have, it's just harder to put people in those bubbles unless it comes down to a really cliche. This is gonna sound really like this is truly like a part of me is like I kind of see it as like, you know, like in a children's TV show where like there's a bad character who's like kind of a bully, and they find out that the bully doesn't have any friends.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I view them. Is like, oh, you've never had you've never had black friends. You've never had like actual friendship. You've been ostracized in the way you coped with being on the outskirts of society, being rejected by what everybody else is by being counterculture. So like whatever the mainstream likes, I don't like because they didn't like me, is what I see.
Yeah. I guess what concerns me is that now they are becoming the mainstream. the fact that this fucking I call him Topher. I don't want to even say his name. I can't remember what it is.
I don't
But
either.
the Kenosha kid. He's 17. He's young enough for it to be like, you should be more aware than this. So that, what does that mean? That what are you taking in? Who's around you? What's going on here?
Yeah.
And if you look at history, that's the thing that people aren't. If you look at history, since day one, since Trump has started being Trump, we're getting so goddamn close to 1940s Germany. We're getting, like, I don't think that's an exaggeration or a crazy thing to say based off of the because, like, if you, let's say you cut out the 4 years and you just went from Trump's inauguration and you were somehow able to get all of his fan base or whatever to skip the 4 years and then look at now, they would be like, Jesus Christ, no, that's not what we actually wanted.
Right.
But what ended up happening was, and this is how it happened in Germany, you get in the office, and then you slowly break people down, and you slowly keep doing this shit to the point where it's a progressive thing. It's like with George Floyd. These people don't understand that, like, it isn't like George Floyd happened and we all got mad. It's like, no. This has been built up over years and years and years. And they're not getting that, and they're not understanding, or maybe they do and they don't give a fuck because they're evil, that I know that's an extreme way to describe it, but at this point, it's like...
Again, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, it's that we're getting to... Secret police are putting people in vans. You're killing people on the street with militias, and the cops aren't stopping them, and they're saying, thanks for getting our back, and giving them water and shit. The news, or at least the news that they're taking in, is justifying it every step of the way. We're getting closer and closer to this place of dictatorship and dystopian behavior. And what's super scary on a selfish level is I should shut the fuck up, because I'm the type of person to be snatched immediately. And so it's so fucking scary. And I just want to be a comic. I just want to tell jokes. I don't want to be talking about this shit. I want to be talking about eating ass because it's funny. That's all I want to talk about. So it's terrible. It's really fucking terrible for me. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's, again, there was a guy that I used to watch in the pickup days that I really liked, RSD Tyler. And one of his points was that because he's a public speaker and because he was very, like, counterculture in some ways, that he would always spread ideas about, like, you guys should not be buying all the stuff. You guys should be eating right. You guys should be finding who you are. All of those things that, like, capitalism doesn't exactly, like, pay. Like, yeah, it doesn't support you finding inner peace. Like, it's really about, like, convincing you that you need material things. And so he's like, if anybody's coming after me, and not to mention his whole things about girls and, like, all that stuff, he's like, if anybody, he's like, who in this room is most at danger of getting killed? And there's some people like, I don't know who, and he's like, me, because, like, I'm in front of all of you guys saying my thoughts freely as if there's no, like, there's consequences that could happen. I'm also very, like, that's the thing, much like you, it's like, I'm putting out where I'm gonna be. You know where to find me. It's not hard. Like, if somebody, not to, again, scare you at all, like, but it's that thing where, like, a lot of and in general, like, this applies to everybody, but again, the more you garner attention for yourself and as you are and all this stuff, it's like anybody can get got. Given social media, you have no idea how much you do the same thing every day, and, like, it's so easy to get just you, but specifically you with garnering the attention to yourself. It's like, where's Aaron gonna be? He says you literally put a story out saying, I'm about to switch from Redlands to somewhere else. And, like, it's like, okay, well, I know he won't be in Redlands, so I'll just see where he posts that he's gonna be next, and then I'll go to that place. Oh, so
just so you know, one of the ways I'm trying to stay positive is not go down this rabbit hole. So I'm gonna change the subject.
Yeah,
Just
I felt myself. You ever like feel yourself walking into like? I know this isn't good for whoever I'm talking to, but I can't
yeah.
stop. So I'm just gonna keep saying. And I was like, I can't pull the plane up. I can't pull the plane up. But yeah,
Can
no,
we
I
talk
get.
about something positive?
Yeah. Positive. Again, you're touching people. This is things that people need. It's always good to have a voice of reason. At the same time, that there's a lot of news that's covering all the bad stuff, and that Trump has obviously got a lot of secret, not okay stuff going on, and people, militia, all the blah blah. In the same token, there's also the huge wave of people that are aware of those things, right? In Nazi Germany, that stuff was just happening. We didn't have the communication to go, hey, yo, what's this? So the beauty of the internet is that we all have the act. Now, to be fair, not all of us are using it to its best ability. Amazing source of information that it is, and how much we don't need the news. Like the fact that we like wait until like a main article like the New York Times or some other thing makes a big Google article about it is like kind of like you do your own research, but at the same time, like it is good that there are multiple sources for you to take, and then the video stands for itself. You can watch the actual video and deduce for yourself without editing or cuts, hopefully, because then again, there are sometimes they release footage and they're like, this is all we got. And then turns out, oh, we had a full length version that we never let you have. And it's like, that's convenient. But,
Positive thing I'm going to say.
okay, positive thing.
Based off of my last set last night, I think that whenever we go back to normal shows, I might be a killer.
Okay. Well, I believe in you.
I say that because most of the time I don't have an audience. Like I'm performing for maybe one or two people at a time. Mm-hmm. So when I'm performing, there's always a sense of like, man, I suck. Yeah. I'm fucking terrible because I'm not getting huge laughs. And for the first time in a long time, I had an audience, like a real audience of about 15 to 20 people. That's just good. Riffing, killed it. So I think now that I'm writing material, I think that whenever we go back and I have like a set, I think I might end up being a killer, man. So
that's good.
It's good.
Yeah, it's good to see that the street stand-up thing has been working out for you in more ways than one, both in craft and in lifestyle, and just in your well-being in general. Again, I've seen a lot of, it sounds like I'm a counselor keeping notes. I've seen a lot of improvement in you, like all these times, but like it's good. It's what it was supposed to do in the first place, and it's good to see that energy of focusing on you and not being worried about everybody else has been showing dividends. I am also excited for when it starts open. Seeing again, there's a rumor floating around that we might be heading back into that, but like
into stand up.
No, into the world of like stuff is open. So yeah, stand up will be a part of that. Like obviously stuff is going to open up. People are going to be more because a part of the whole like you have a crowd now, as much as it's also your craft, is that like people are like, we're free, a thing. Hey, a thing. Like I'll watch this thing. I have only been watching Netflix. I need real life. This is real life. I'm like here.
Are you going to Beltran's thing on Wednesday?
I didn't know there was a thing on Wednesday.
Apparently has a mic or show. I know that Anthony Davis and KJ are going to be on it, but then I think it's a mic too.
Where is
so
it?
I don't know. I might look into that. I might hit it up. We'll see.
Yeah, you should. If you know any of the information, you should send me because honestly, nobody has kept me in the loop about any of the. I just see some people start posting like, "I did an outdoor," and I'm like, where that? where is?
I've been seeing Steven Espinosa out there. Steven Espinosa, Ernesto Ledesma, and I think a third. I can't think of who. But I've been seeing people getting out doing shows, man, and it's like
the goat, the Goats guys. They also had some show or something. And
wait, who's that?
It's like I can't remember what their like crew name is, but it's something Goats, and they do stand up. You've met them all before.
The Young Goats.
Young Goats, yeah.
Oh, that's that Karina.
Yes.
Yeah.
All of them. They've been doing some stuff, and like I've seen them post some things, and I'm like, okay, but like, where are we going? Like, but again, I'm also kind of focused on like my internet thingy. So I'm like, I'm not really doing the like hitting everybody up like, where is it at? Because I'm
Yeah.
also playing it safe if I'm being honest. Like, because we just, like, again, we just had one where it's like, hey, we're open. Oh, we closed. And
Yeah.
so, like, I'm kind of playing this one like, I'm counting it as like, until they fully say we're bueno, I'm just going to keep doing my thing as if we're not, except for my little ones here and there. Like, there
Yeah.
are little spots that I might hit, but in general, we're chilling. But,
I
yeah,
get
I
you.
believe in you. I think, again, how long have you been doing street stand up now? Like, since quarantine, right?
Way before quarantine. Remember
So,
that?
yeah, almost a year.
I would say
Like,
about a year. Yeah.
yeah, so I can't imagine. Like, you're one of the few people that really didn't stop during all this. So I can't imagine you didn't grow in some capacity. And so
It's
I'm also interested to see the material that comes out of, like, there's the material that you used to work on, or that you had before you went through this, and all the experiences you've had with street stand up and like life in general. And now to see whatever your writing process will be, or like what jokes will come from it.
dude.
So,
I'm a completely different comic. I think.
mm,
I don't know. I mean, I don't know because I'm me, but
yeah.
like my writing process is different. The way I view writing jokes is different. My riffing's different. My presence on stage, like if you look at one man show versus pre-quarantine, I think it's very different.
Mm.
I
Yeah.
don't know how to put it into words, so maybe you could, but I think it's
Yeah,
different.
I mean, if I were to break, I'd have to see them back to back to like break it down. But from my recollection, there is a comfort level rise that like the you that for those shameless plug. If you want to see old Aaron, you can go to Buddy System or just search Aaron Chase stand up. It shows up. You can watch him do. I think it was like a 10-minute set at Ice House.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can watch that video and then watch One Man Show, and you can see that Aaron's like there's less of a like hiccup. There's like less of a like I could tell when you're in the original version, like in the Ice House one, that there's this like and now I'm doing jokes and okay, I got to make sure that when that joke didn't land, I got to mention it. I got to say something to the audience. It's like, oh, mention the thing that while I was off stage, this thing happened, and I got to mention that thing, and then it's very you can see the calculations. Whereas like One Man Show, it was clear that like you had bullet points, you hit those bullet points, they flow in together pretty smoothly, but it feels like you're just talking. Like again, that One Man Show feels more like the illusion of like I'm naturally doing this. I didn't plan this at all. I'm literally just saying off the top of my head that smoothness, even though like it was it wasn't written, but it had bullet points. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Yeah.
So
I
like
think if I didn't have the notebook at the time, I wonder how people would have really like. I needed the notebook because I came up with it like 2 nights before we did it, but I'm I'm trying. The other thing I'm trying to do is build up the confidence and understand that like, no, I'm good at this. Like I'm good at this. And that's hard for me to do because people have been shitting on me my whole life with this. So it's hard for me to like understand like, no, I have a skill. This is something not only am I good at it, but it's coming to fruition. Like it's happening. And I know we keep talking about this, but mentally I have to get over this hurdle of understanding like this is happening. Really is my career and it's becoming it. And I know I'm not like famous or whatever bullshit, but god damn it, I am taking the steps to get there and I can feel it. And it's just kind of hard to accept right now. And I'm trying to figure out how to emotionally handle it. So
yeah, I mean it's something you gotta do. Real quick before I say my tangent, could you press the live button? How much time does it say?
41 minutes and 29 seconds.
Okay, so we're still good for 19. It'll do a countdown where we're in the last 30 seconds, and so
Okay.
I don't want it to cut off mid talking. If you see it pop up and we're like in the last 5, just give me a heads up so we can decide if we're gonna close or let it ride into a second thing.
Okay.
What I was saying was, yeah, that's something important that like it's good to do. As far as it's kind of the thing of like the jealousy of looking at like young kids who pop off and like they're teenagers or they're like young 20s and like they pop off and like they have to learn it as it's happening. Whereas when
Pete
you
Davidson.
How old is Pete Davidson?
He's young, man. He got on SNL. He is younger than Eddie Murphy when he got on SNL.
Hmm.
He was like 17, 18, I think.
Man, Pete looked old.
Yeah, he's broken. When your dad dies in 9/11, you know.
And that is his thing. Like
Yeah.
the amount of times listen, everybody's got their material. It's funny when it's funny. I'm not gonna sit here and act like I'm anywhere near where Pete Davidson's at. He's doing great. I completely support. That's his joke. That's what he finds funny. I get it. He mentions that his dad died in 9/11 like a lot, like a lot, like more than Chris Rock mentions race. Pete Davidson mentions that his dad died in 9/11. No, so go ahead.
I think he's finally moving. Have you seen King of Staten Island?
I actually haven't, but I saw the commercial for it, and I was like, "This is Pete Davidson, the movie."
It's really good. It's really good. Yeah, it's a little long. Little has that Judd Apatow, like, all right, man, you could have cut some shit out of here. But very good, and it feels like one man show. I'm going to compare myself to Pete Davidson.
Well,
one man show is the same thing of like, all right, this is like a snake shedding some excess. We're done with this now. Let's move forward.
Got it.
So, yeah, I'm sorry, man. What were you saying? Confidence and love and life and pursuit of happiness.
That does sound like me. Pete Davidson. Oh, young. Oh, right. Okay, so the whole like getting used to like realizing your whole thing, and some other comedians that I watched around my age who are popping off or have popped off in a certain regard, they mentioned this. It's like the beauty of popping off in your late 20s or like early 30s is that you're like founded as a person. Like you know who you are. So when all the feedback comes from the world about how like you both suck and are the most amazing God that has ever lived, you're like, I know both of those things aren't true, but yeah. I appreciate you, and also what's wrong with you? Like, that's the good thing about being older. As much as you look at younger versions and you kind of go like, oh man, I wish I was already there, you got to also recognize that like growing up with that, like child stars rarely come out okay. Like, I think there's so few. There's so only recently had they started learning to like cultivate that a little bit, and even they're still kind of off. Like the Disney Channel stars that came up, but like they're relatively like Selena's still relatively all right. Demi had a problem. Taylor's still relatively all right. Miley had a problem. Justin goes back and forth. Sometimes people are like, oh no, he's broken, and other times people are like, he's actually pretty alright. And so like, you know, it's like you see the child star and you gotta go, okay, I see you. But like, that's all I'm saying is it's good that you're taking the time to be like, yeah, find who you are, blah blah blah.
I took your advice, sort of.
Which one?
You've given a lot of advice, but the feel yourself essentially. The
oh yeah, how's masturbating?
What?
go
every time I go on the every time I rewatch One Man Show every day, and I just jerk off to myself.
That's a real thing. That's really weird because you're talking about some really heavy stuff. Like,
yeah. Oh,
I remember when I was called the N-word the first time.
I use my own tears as lube about my own tears. It's a whole thing.
Oh man, meta. Your exes have a hard time getting you going.
But feeling myself, like I'm trying to get to this place of like, no, this isn't cocky. This is confidence.
Oh, yeah.
This is like and it's super hard for me, but like I know this isn't cocky. This is confidence. I know I don't think I'm better than everyone. I know I'm not famous. I know I'm not rich. Yeah. You can't see the rest of this room.
Stay self-aware.
Yeah.
That's the most important trait I would say as a human being at this
Right.
point in the world. But like, yeah, that's
But
good.
I'm in this place of like, this is working. My whole plan from the very beginning is actually working, and that deserves celebration. I deserve praise for that. It's just hard to do. You know who helped? You know who actually helped a lot, made me feel better?
KJ?
Who?
KJ?
No, he makes me feel terrible about myself all the time. No, okay, two people. I'll talk about KJ first and the other guy. KJ, Joe, did I tell you about Richard Villa's stuff?
Nope.
All right, three people.
I don't even know who that is.
Okay, perfect. I'm excited for this. So
Okay.
KJ, okay, people would tell me over and over again, like, hey man, you're overthinking. That's what they would say.
Yeah.
You're overthinking. And eventually, I can't remember when it was, but KJ was like, no man, you just got to use your imagination. And it was like, oh, that's how I needed it worded to me. And I didn't understand that. It wasn't that I was overthinking. It was that I was thinking the way I normally think, but I wasn't using my imagination. I was using my analytical side.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And so now that I'm able to, it's 48 minutes, 3 seconds.
Okay.
Okay.
We still have 13.
Okay. So now that I'm using my imagination, I'm clicking into stuff. I'm able to riff better. Writing's becoming easier. It's becoming more fun. So that was good on KJ. And then I talked with Jay Light. You know Jay Light?
Yeah. Well, I've watched, he was on that show that we were on at the Improv. And then I followed him on Instagram, so I see some of his stuff. And then didn't he do an episode of ACMM?
He did the comedy community thing, and he was on our show. I talked to him recently.
Yeah.
What's up?
I said that's how I know him. It's like that's as far as it goes.
I like there's something calming about it. Like, I want him to read me a story when I go to sleep. And I talked to him on the phone after he watched One Man Show. I was just getting his perspective, and there was something about it that just felt calming. It felt like he's seeing somebody who is like, I don't want to say, no, fuck that. I'll say made it in the sense that like he's living off the shit.
Yeah.
That's making it as far as I'm concerned.
As far as I'm going, it's like if I become a writer on anything and I'm living on my stuff, I did what I was supposed to do.
So talking with him made me feel calmer, which was nice, and it put it like, I don't know how to put into words what he said. I'll figure it out eventually. The same thing with KJ and imagination. And the third thing that happened was Richard Villa. He's a comic. He's also working comics. He's fairly successful, I'd say. He had me go on his like roast battle, like Mexican roast battle, and
I think I saw a post you did about that. Was that the one in the studio? And they're like, apparently it's big in Mexico or something.
This motherfucker was in his garage, but yeah, sure, studio.
I mean, it looked like he had the soundboard and everything. That picture is real. Like, I buy it.
He had a DJ Morales. Shouts out to DJ Morales. He had lights. He had this whole setup going on, and it was crazy, man. I got followers from fucking Mexico from that.
Nice.
So like little moments like that. It's hard to like. I'm trying. I don't want to disconnect from reality here. I acknowledge the danger I'm in. I acknowledge the way the world is. But trying to smell the roses and feel this like, but little good things are happening, and some people are throwing me a fucking bone for once, and it feels amazing. So,
and that's the thing. It's important to do that more than I would say anything. I mean, again, obviously I'm the rose-colored glasses guy, but like to me, like here we go. What is life if not like if you just live your day-to-day surviving, right? And everything is like, it's the end. Or like, and not even, there's some people who live on the edge, right? Where it's like, it's the end every day, the sky is always falling. That's rough. Then there's like what I would consider the typical person. And I think the typical person is just like today was another day. I don't even know what I did today. It just kind of happened. They don't have like passions or goals or they don't, even if you don't have those things, which I do think are important, it's like you don't appreciate I know this again. It's a really rough thing to say, especially in the era that we live in, and especially given how this podcast started. But it's like it's still a gift to be alive, man. Like
Yeah.
it's still amazing that you get to live in a world with freaking houses with you don't have to farm. And if you want to farm, you can farm. Like you
Yeah.
could do whatever. You have a smartphone. If you don't have a smartphone, you live in a house. You live in the world. And even our homeless are homeless, and that's like pretty tragic. But like they can live here in a third world country. It's just you're dead. You're just dead. And so like I don't know. That kind of thing is like I think as much as people want to talk down about it, and I think it's a crabs in a barrel mentality to talk down about the successes that you have, no matter how minuscule. If you get one follower, you should be amazed because freaking, you know how much media you're competing against. You know that you're actually up against celebrities. You're actually up against like networks that have been doing this for years, and to break through somebody's personal life into like their freaking Instagram feed that's like, but I follow a bunch of hot girls and friends and family, and then I decided that one comedian, or like this one comedian, and then all these celebrities. It's like, as stupid as it is, and as little effort as that takes for them to press the follow button to get them there, it takes some stuff.
I have to pour my soul out on the streets for people to be like, yeah, I'll follow him.
Right. And it's like, and it's dangerous. That's what you have to do. And it's just like, that's the era we live in. And in exchange for that, we don't have to deal with freaking, yet. We don't have to deal with networks trying to control our Instagram page or like what our art is or what we want to do with it yet. Again, obviously that is a battle that you might have to fight at some point. Or like just not even a battle. Again, it could be nice. They're trying to help you, all that stuff, but neither here nor there. The difference between an independent artist and like a label, right? It's like that dichotomy. Is the beauty of being independent is you're 100 free to do whatever you want. The beauty of a label is they have connections that you don't have. But like, all of that being said, it's just like, it is amazing. And as much as people want to talk down on it, because yes, it's not 1 million followers or 100,000 followers. Like, you got to start somewhere. And honestly, the growth is exponential. Like, the more people that are doing it, the more, when it rains, it pours. People like things that other people like. So once you start kicking up, like, it starts kicking up. Like, and the word spreads and people keep growing. It's just a matter of breaking in that initial thing. And then once you're in that initial thing, it's like gangbusters.
54 minutes.
All right, 6 minutes. So what do you want to do?
We can start up again.
You want to start up again? All right, then we'll call this episode, and then we'll start back up. Hold on. Let me do the outro. All right, thank you guys for tuning in for this episode of A to Z. He's about to stop the live stream, start up another one. We'll keep talking. You'll keep rocking with us. We appreciate it. Follow us on Instagram if you want. After all that talk, no pressure. But like, you can follow Aaron at Aaron Chase 91 on Instagram, and you can follow me at @0_KR Anime on Instagram, and you can watch the Buddy System comedy. Buddy System comedy on YouTube is where you can find the A to Z podcast. That's what this is, except I edit it, and so it's not like this, but it's like we're in circles and it's cute. But like that's that. Follow the Buddy System page. Watch ACM. Listen to ACMM. It's his solo podcast. There's no video, so you don't get to see him shirtless or his crotch, but you do still get to hear those dulcet tones. As for me, you can just search Zero Rimson on YouTube. I have a bunch of skits and stand up. All right. Thank you for listening to my shameless plugs. All right, now you can end it.